hang out with you and go on adventures and do whatever you want to do, forever.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, if that's what you want.
Hey friends, this whole episode was one big jab at heist films. Sure, it was 22 minutes of the same joke over and over again, but that doesn't mean it was bad. As always, there are spoilers ahead. You want to break down Rick and Morty, you sons of bitches? I'm in. Now let's get into Rick and Morty Season 4, Episode 3, One Crew Over the Crewcoo's Morty. The title of the episode is based on the book, play, and Jack Nicholson film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. A story of mental institution patients being at odds with their nurse, and one inmate overcomes his lack of motivation to escape after his friend is lobotomized. I don't really see very many parallels in that, though. This episode was directed by Brian Jordan Newton, who directed my favorite episode, Me Seeks and Destroy. This episode was one big heist in order to incept the idea of disliking heists into Morty's mind.
If Morty ever gives up on a single dream, it had better be because of his own disillusionment.
Also our minds, kind of. Anyone who thinks Rick Sanchez is a good guy because of the events of last episode, let me introduce you once again to Rick Sanchez, evil jerkhead genius. He spends the whole episode ruining Morty's want to write a heist film and his esteem in general. The episode starts with Rick making Morty climb a wall while he floats next to him, even though he could carry him at any time. He actually offered to get 2 hover chairs for the adventure earlier in the timeline.
I know just the temple, and we'll grab a couple of hover chairs on the way there.
Rick planned a grave-robbing adventure knowing the skull that they were trying to steal had already been stolen, and then after he gets the skull, he throws it away, meaning it was just a useless MacGuffin. He went to HeistCon knowing that they couldn't get in with pro badges without a crew, setting off the whole Ocean's recruitment montage. He uses Morty to test the Hall H security at the convention, and if the last...
And I programmed you to believe that
is actually true, then Rick knew everything was going to happen in the episode. Like everything. He knew the amount of times that HeistBot traded places with RandoBot. He knew that people were going to die, not just nightly, but the entire population of planet Gromflamac and any of the other collateral damage that happened when HeistBot took other planets, including Mars, Big Pluto, Biggin, Crumph, and Spiky Renus. Not to mention that every time they say, I programmed you to believe that, isn't them arguing, it's one more level of robot programming that Rick had already planned for, which makes me feel so tired in my brain.
Did you bring us in so that everyone would be here when I reveal that you're gonna explode after 9 reveals?
Even though Morty stays relatively quiet throughout the episode, the after-credit scene shows Morty seeming a little restless at Rick's side, doing a Rubik's Cube while Mr. Poopy Butthole questions Rick about the relatively small in comparison, but really heartless stuff that he did to him.
Too bad I lost my job for putting my students in the hospital.
Yeah.
Before Season 3, Mr. Poopy Butthole had just gotten his GEED and settled down with a family. This season, he's a professor of African American Women's Studies, which means that he continued his education and got his doctorate, and then lost that job when Rick acted like Rick.
He still got it.
You sons of bitches! What's the job?
There were a pile of parodies, references, and mashups in this episode. The hoverchair scene at the start of the episode with the Arby's ad placement litter flying through the air was actually a Star Trek V reference. Kirk is free climbing in Yosemite, and he falls and has to be rescued by a hoverboot-wearing Spock. The booby traps in the temple that Rick and Morty walk through are pulled straight from Indiana Jones' Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the crystal skull they're trying to find is obviously from Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Also, Indiana Jones notoriously hates snakes. Miles Knightley left an origami horse as a calling card, which reminds me a bit of Blade Runner, but most movie bandits have a calling card.
All the great ones leave their mark. We're the Wet Bandits.
HeistCon is a parody of Comic-Con in San Diego. It even has a Hall H, the famous hall where many Q&A sessions are held, which is notoriously annoying to get into. This dude right here is cosplaying as a safe.
Tuxedo scuba lessons? Ooh, a signing with Catherine's Alpha through Omega Joneses.
Maybe every universe has a different Catherine Jones. Like we have Zeta Jones, but there's 23 other letters in the Greek alphabet. Catherine Zeta-Jones was in Oceans 12 and 13. The Scuba Tux line is a reference to True Lies, a 90s spy film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, in which he scuba dives wearing a tux.
And then the police stole the paintings. Because the police were us.
Miles Knightley is dressed as Freddie Mercury in the outfit he wore during the 1986 concert at Wembley Stadium. This episode was actually released on the anniversary of Freddie Mercury's death, which is really, really cool, paying homage to that dude. The contest they propose is in reference to the contest that Danny Ocean and the Jackal proposed to find who is the better thief.
Lab coat, rip off Dr. Strange.
In the audience at the convention, there's an alien with 3 boobs like in Total Recall, and it seems like Abraham Lincoln's head is floating in this tank. Rick wearing glasses and sucking on a blow pop is in reference to Brad Pitt's character in the Ocean series, who is always eating.
He's a getaway driver with Asperger's, and my butthole is a demolitions expert.
The driver with Asperger's line is referencing the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling. The movie's embraced by the Aspie community because Gosling's character exhibits Asperger's symptoms.
What's he doing? He's learning.
What's happening, Professor Poopy Butthole? He's learning.
The recruitment montage of Rick's heist crew members is a direct Ocean's 12 parody. Elon Musk and his company Tesla being in an episode featuring the dangers of AI is awesome because of how vocal he is about AI being scary.
Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes.
Truckula is Truckzilla and Dracula, and is also in reference to the brothers in the Ocean series. Also, there's a Mad Max Fury Road-looking participant in the race that Truckzilla is in.
Sanchez, you son of a bitch.
Angie Flint is a Laura Dern, Laura Croft mashup with Ghost in the Shell robot hands. Hephaestus is the Greek god of fire and forges, but his character in this episode kind of reminds me of the dwarf blacksmith from Infinity War, who makes weapons for Thor. Also, Rick catches the hammer he throws with a very Iron Man-like hand.
Randotron's algorithm is derived from the plots of 3 David Lynch movies I pretended to like to make my friends shut up.
David Lynch is a weird director who makes films that are either difficult to understand or make no sense at all. In the Netflix office, there's a Stranger Things parody poster that says weirder stuff. My favorite thing about this episode is that the thing that Rick shocks Morty with to cure him of Heistotron's nanobots also made him realize that his kidneys aren't his, which means that Rick had previously put nanobots into Morty to keep him from realizing that his kidneys aren't his.
I'm out! I quit! Whose kidneys are these?
Also, Mr. Poopy Butthole as an auctioneer was the cutest thing I've ever seen. Guys, we have 2 weeks to the next episode of Rick and Morty. Episode 4 is called Claw and Hoarder Special Rickdoms Unit. Be sure to stuff it in the cornucopia over Thanksgiving, and please like and subscribe because it's awesome to see when people are liking and enjoying my videos. Thank you so much for watching. I love you.